Y'all can tell you guys that the internet could be used for many things. Many things. You can come on the internet today and make a whole lot of money. We're in some of the greatest times ever. You know, you can things that may have took 30 years, working in 30 years to do and retire. You can do in 3 and 4 years sometimes if you're smart enough, if you're charismatic enough. There's people coming onto this internet and they're making a fortune quick, right? Today I'm talking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant again, right? Now she went on to the Breakfast Club and she went on to explain her case because she's been under fire for her qualifications on whether she's qualified to have the conversations that she's having. Now, going into the Breakfast Club, I don't think was a good thing. Now, she's been being called out by black women. Dr. Raquel Martin is on her bumper because Dr. Raquel Martin does this real work. And Dr. Raquel is saying she's not qualified to speak in the manner in which she's speaking. She's not saying that she's not qualified to speak. She's saying she's not qualified to speak in the way that she's speaking. Now, the thing is, as we come over here, when you go onto her website, right? It says Dr. Bryant's story is one of discovery, resilience, and transformation. At the age of 17, she began her academic journey at California State University's Northridge, where she earned double degrees in psychology and Pan-African studies. Initially uncertain about her path, she found clarity during her master's program at the University of Phoenix. Now, she never said if she passed that master's program or she actually got the master's degree. It was there she realized her calling, healing herself and others. Fueled by this revelation, she pursued and earned a doctorate in counseling psychology. Oh man, from Argosy University, marking the beginning of a remarkable career dedicated to uplifting others. Right. So she has this stuff. She has this stuff on there, right, on her website. She should pursue as a career organically. She ended up choosing psychology. And she still wasn't quite sure why. However, she didn't realize what had triggered her interest until she entered the master's program at the University of Phoenix. She was about halfway through the master's program and boom, it hit her. She had a lot of healing within herself that needed to be done. Dr. Bryant's desire for fulfillment, healing, peace, and balance within herself and others drew her to the field of psychology. Being the overachiever that she is, Dr. Bryant decided to pursue her doctorate degree in counseling psychology from Argosy University. But there's a lot of controversy surrounding this, and you guys are going to see this in the video, right? So Dr. Raquel Martin came on there because she heard a lot of red flags, and let's revisit what she said.
When evaluating anyone's credentials, it's really critical to look at two things: what their doctorate is actually in and whether they hold a relevant clinical license. In this case, the person you're about to hear from is unlicensed. I'm going to break down why that matters and why this particular message is harmful, especially to the Black community that she claims to be serving and that I actually serve.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license to bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists. Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board. If I breach confidentiality, if I cross ethical boundaries or harm you, you have somewhere to file a complaint and be sure that I'm held accountable. A license is not paperwork just for billing. It's a consumer protection. When someone drops or loses or no longer has a license, they're not solely avoiding the insurance hassle. They're also removing your recourse if something goes terribly wrong.
Not binded by BBS, the Behavior Board Science Rules and Regulations and Ethics, and so it just opened up a whole nother floor in industry for me.
And she's also saying this like it's a good thing. I want to state something really important. Ethics codes exist to protect you from exploitation and boundary violation.
Now, Dr. Raquel is basically saying that because we've seen her in multiple interviews call herself a therapist, but she's not licensed to be online calling herself a therapist, receiving money to give people therapy, right? So this is where Dr. Martin came out and started questioning this, right? Because she's already done this. She's done this. So a lot of times, a lot of women come in my comment section and say, oh man, you hating women. No, I'm not. This is a woman blowing the whistle.
As a therapist, two things you can obviously make what you deserve because therapy is real. We're giving everything we have in there.
So here you can see where she said, "I don't need a license because I'm not a therapist. I'm a psychology expert and life coach. I don't understand what's so hard for people to grasp about that. Coaches do not need a license. I do not identify as a therapist. My bio does not say therapist. My website does not say therapist anywhere on it. It clearly says psychology expert and life coach." But she goes around at times saying that she is. And this is why you're getting flack from the professionals, right? And she does that where people are finding her to come to her, and they're getting these therapeutic sessions, right? But she's not licensed, and she's not being held. There's no board that will hold her accountable in case something goes bad. And this is why several doctors now, after Dr. Raquel Martin has come out, several doctors have come out also, right? And they're saying, "Yo, this could be potentially a problem."
Professional.
I get it. So if I'm a mental health professional, I have to be licensed. I can't opt out. But if I use the word life coach, I can, or career coach or relationship coach, whatever, that's the workaround. The workaround is just saying you're not that thing. You give it, naming it something else. She is self-identified as a therapist, as a psychologist. So when she's giving the advice, doesn't that give at least the impression that this is mental health professional work?
So the problem is she went onto the Breakfast Club. Now we've had her on video where she's led multiple times in saying that she's a therapist. Then she switches it up, right? Now on the Breakfast Club, she goes on there to explain her case to finally put an end to all of this, right? But it didn't go good. It didn't go good. When leaving the Breakfast Club, she left with even more speculation. And there's a lot of black women professionals that's like, "Yo, you ain't you don't do what we do. You don't do what we do." Right? So what happens is the way she talks, she leads people to her website under the assumption that she's a therapist, right? But she doesn't have the credentials, nor is she held to any board, right? So on the Breakfast Club, it went like this.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
Mm-hmm.
How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that. Because I don't give a about it. Now, to my doc squad, my fan base, my folks, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, "Hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing." And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Why I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no, because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program.
Now this woman, she just gets more interesting by every time she talks. Now we're talking about the closed school discharge program, where federal student aid will be canceled. They'll cancel what you owe and give back the money you paid under certain conditions, right? Now when we go here, it says if your school closes while you're enrolled or soon after you withdraw, you will be eligible for discharge of your federal student loan. Loan discharge is the removal of your obligation to repay your loan under certain circumstances. There are certain eligibility requirements to qualify for a closed school loan discharge. If ED has sufficient information to determine you qualify for a discharge, your loan will generally be automatically discharged 1 year after your school closes. However, you may always apply to get a discharge sooner if you qualify. It's important for you to obtain your academic and financial aid records if your school closes, since you might need those records if you plan to attend another school or want your student loans discharged, right? Loan discharge criteria, right? You may be eligible for full discharge of your William D. Ford federal direct loan program loans, federal family education loans programs, or federal Perkins loans received to attend a school if you were unable to complete your program of study because that school closed. You were enrolled when your school closed. You were on an approved leave of absence when your school closed, or your school closed within 180 days you withdrew. You are not eligible for discharge of your loans if your school closes on any of the following is true. You graduated or completed the program at the closed school. You withdrew more than 180 days before the school closed, unless you can demonstrate an exceptional circumstance. You're completing or have graduated from a teach out agreement at another school approved by the school's accrediting agency, and if applicable, the school state authorized urgency. You're completing or have graduated from a program of study at a different branch or location of the school closed, right? So now when we read that and we go through that, we see why she doesn't have no records. She can't get no records because she never completed the program, right? She doesn't fit the criteria of getting her records. Man, so on the Breakfast Club, when she's trying to explain this, it gets real goofy, because now she can't provide any evidence that Dr. Raquel Martin and a lot of these doctors are holding her accountable. We want to see, because you in many videos you claim to be a therapist. So now we want to see your work, and you say you you have your psychology degrees and all this kind of stuff. We want to see your work, right? We want to see that paperwork. She can't provide it. That's what she said, y'all.
Luckily, I had, I do this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time. And I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just in general.
They are going to kill you online this week. They're going to say she has no records. They just want to hate you regardless. But
no, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me, it's any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't affect me, because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage and child therapist, I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and I'll have to do a study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist. That's what we're all missing.
They say the reason that you don't get questioned or tested as much is because of your quote unquote looks.
I said this last time I was on. You might be my alter ego brother, because some of the stuff you say is just right up the alley of what needs to be addressed. So there's pretty privilege, and I've learned that there's pretty punishment.
They crazy up there, man. So she had the mitigated guard come up there and say that, well, she can't get her records because the school she went to, there was a third party and they handled the records. So that the school went defunct and went under. Now I can't get my records to prove my credibility, to prove if I'm qualified, right? To speak in the manner in which I'm speaking, right? Then they got into pretty privilege. Now, she got transcripts to show that she was there, right? Like maybe like the first year or 2 years, but she doesn't have the transcripts to prove that she actually completed the curriculum, completed the program. And this is what everybody was waiting for. And so what she did, she just told you she can't do it, right? The school, the third party only hold those records for 2 years. So you're going to a school. Let's just say you're trying to go get a job and you finish this program. You paid for it and everything. You can't get your transcripts. You can't get your records to show what you accomplished. Come on, man. Like, who you think you're talking to? But again, this is the internet. This ain't me hating. This is her. And on the Breakfast Club, they start talking about pretty privilege and all that kind of crap, man. But that's what Dr. Raquel Martin was getting at them about. This is foolishness. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.